Welcome to Making Video Games with Python, Lesson 28. In this video, we're going to complete Delta Fighter by ending the game, and we're also going to introduce music. So let's get to it. All right, so we already have some things in place to end Delta Fighter. So for instance, uh, if the hero collides with the boss, it's an instant death and the hero's health goes to 0. We also have is that when the hero collides with the aliens as part of level 2, that the hero's health decreases by 10. So in either case, you kind of already can think about that if the hero loses all their health, level 2 is over, the game is over. Now in the previous level, we incorporated that by simply writing an if statement that checked to see if the hero's health is less than 0. And we set game over equal to true. We don't necessarily have to do that for level 2 because if you recall, we had to add something to the while loop that checked that we should only be able to play level 2 while the game is not over and the hero has health. So by having this extra piece, it's acting like an if statement that when we lose too much health, our health becomes 0, this will not be true. And similar to what happens with an if statement, this AND operator will then simply say, hey, you know what? This is all false and we should not get in the loop. So it kind of automatically ends the game once we have health less than 0 or equal to 0. But we do have to incorporate the other side of this, which is, how do we win the game? So that's a simple one. That's comparing the boss's health to be less than 0. And at that point, we're going to do a game over equals true. And that should end the game if we successfully killed the boss. There is another scenario that I want to incorporate right now that should also end the game. And that really deals from the fact that we can kind of do what this ship is doing, kind of hiding in the corner. Because if you recall, the boss doesn't take up the whole screen. It takes a good portion, but not the whole screen. So if we hide in the corner, technically, we kind of wait for the boss to pass us by. That's not being very heroic. So we'll also consider the situation that if the boss's health is less than 0, or if the bottom of the boss is greater than the bottom of the screen, then the game is over. Again, that means that the boss successfully reached their objective and they're on the way to the Earth to take over the whole planet. All right, so I think we're ready to now introduce a new game loop. So I'm going to borrow some code from over here. Just going to take that along with it. Because currently right now, regardless of what happens, once we end level 2, the game quits. So we should be able to show the player, again, give them a little feedback. Let them know that either they won the game or they lost the game. So let me just take this out. And the reason I wanted to copy so much is I wanted to make sure I got that game over equals false. Again, prior to any game loop, you want to make sure you have that, or else the game loop just automatically exits from the previous game over equals true. Again, this is just a technique using this basic game loop and this library. All right, so let's do game update. We then grab that. All right, so now we're in our game over game loop. Prior to the video, what I've done, and let me show you some of these pictures. Again, we have a lot of pictures available to us to kind of decorate Delta Fighter. So what we have here, there's a game over image, there's a mission accomplished image, and there's also a mission failed image. So we're going to incorporate that as part of our game over screen. So I think the first thing we should do, and we've loaded up the variables prior to level 1 where we kind of have all the other variables. So here's our game over, it's an image, just grab it, repositioned it a little higher. Same thing with mission accomplished, and I'm just going to copy this for right now. and something for also mission failed. All right, so let's go down to our game over screen. And I think the first thing we should do, we should draw that game over image. Again, don't confuse this game over with this game over. This is the variable over that comes from the game class. This is just the image variable. So I'm simply going to draw it. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to decide, how did we get to the game over? Did we get to the game over because we won? Or did we get to the game over because we lost? And I think the easiest way to check for that is to check for the hero's health. So if the hero's health is greater than 0 and the boss's health is less than, I'll put less than or equal to 0. I'll do the same thing here, just to make sure we capture 0. Then at this point, we've accomplished the mission and we can simply draw mission accomplished. If that's not the case, then we will do the mission failed and draw that image. All right, let's see. I think we're good to go to do a little bit of testing. All right, so we're here. I'm going to take the easy route. I'm just going to edit out, and I simply want to test the concept that if we collide with the boss, the game should be over. And there we go. Game over, mission failed, we're good to go. Now let's handle the other side of this, which is that we successfully killed the boss. So for this, I'm going to need to play out level because I need to get that ammo. Again, if we don't get ammo going to level 2, we're not going to have enough to defeat the boss. Now, as part of level 2, you do have an opportunity to collect some more ammo. But again, I kind of want to go through this and get as much as we can, instead of having to depend on picking it up from level 2. Now, the other thing you kind of think about as well is kind of maximize your ammo. Hit the, like I just said, that's actually the purpose. And possibly for you. Enough ammo? There we go. Alright, so I ended the game and mission accomplished. So one thing that we're going to add to this game is a little bit of music. So let me close this out and let's go back to our folder for a second. So we have a game over failed soundtrack and sound file and a game over success sound file. Now going into, I guess I should have stayed over here. Going into the game library. Again, we've worked with sounds before, but it might be nice to have something play in the background. So if you go to the game class and scroll down a little bit, you're going to see some things to help us out. So there's a function called set music. There's also a function called play music and set volume and stop music. So between these 4 functions, we're able to kind of play music in the background in addition to having our sound effects. So this won't take up one of those channels, and also this doesn't get interrupted when we play a different sound file. Again, when you use the other method, again, within those 8 channels, that's all you have. This gives us another route to play stuff where it doesn't interfere with the sound object. All right, so going over to our game, prior to the game over, we got to decide what situation are we in? Are we in a win or fail situation? So I'm going to borrow this if statement from inside our game over loop. But all I'm going to do here is I'm going to say game dot set music. Again, use that one function you just saw. And then we simply have to specify the sound file. So we got sounds // and what was it? tell you what, I'm gonna, because I already have this, and you don't need to see me type. Um, I'll rather just explain it. All right, so if the hero's health is greater than 0, and I'm going to add this little extra piece here as well. And the boss's health is less than or equal to 0, then we are ready to play the game over success wave file. Again, this particular sound file. If it's not, then we're simply going to do the game over fail. Now you'll notice that I'm also, with that game variable, I'm playing the music outside the game loop. This is okay because these are large sound files, so they're just going to continually play as while the game over game loop is happening. So for this, trying to think, try to give myself a little more ammo. Where's my ammo? I'm cheating. I'm hacking my own program. All right, let's try it now. Oops. One too many. And then let's also, actually, no, I can leave it like this. I'll turn the volume up when we get to it. Because again, at this point, we do have the sound effect file that's in place to hear like explosions. But one of the things is that I've noticed in the videos that it's kind of hard for me to talk over the sound files, sound effects. So I'm going to leave them off for now. So we kind of just talk a little bit. And I think, you know what? I was gonna try to just skip level 1, but I feel like it gets so close to the end. I want to pick up as much ammo as I can. All right, let's do it. Too many right here. Good. Here's one. I need this one. Honestly, you could also have background music as, let's say, level 2 is playing. I'm gonna let you test out the game over music on your own, but trust me, it will play. And having that background music is a nice extra effect that you can add to your game. Again, not always required, but it is useful to have. So let's go back to our presentation. Let's review what we've done. So in this video, we kind of completed Delta Fighter by exploring all the different scenarios on how level 2 and in essence Delta Fighter can end. We created an extra game loop just to handle some animations for the game over, allowing us to display whether the player accomplished the mission or they failed. We also took another look at the game class, and we saw that there is the capability to play music in the background where it doesn't conflict with the sound object classes. So hopefully you're excited about finishing the last part of Delta Fighter, which is to add a start screen, and enjoy.